Dang, it feels good to be a gangster. For that of which I am not, but Oklahoma State found one. If G means gangster and OG means original gangster, I guess you could say the OG for all of college football is Barry Sanders. The OG, triple OG in Stillwater, Oklahoma is Bob Fenimore, but that leaves room in the middle for OG2, OG squared, OG deuce. Call it what you want to call it, but you better put some Heisman talk on it.
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily stop for all things Cowboy and Cowgirl related. My name is Cody Stovall. I want to thank you for stopping by to make this your first listen here on Locked On Oklahoma State. You know we're available visually on YouTube. You also know we're on all of your podcasting platforms. Go hit the like, comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, and find me on Twitter. Hear me closely, at All-Day-O State, not at OK State all day, not at OST8 all day. None of that. At All-Day-O State. I'll cover that housekeeping part in the end here. Right now, I got to let you know today, brought to you by PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege and use the code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. The best daily fantasy sports made easy. Ollie Gordon made life look easy in Morgantown. Ollie Gordon is one of 4 Oklahoma State Cowboys to rush for over 250 yards and 4 tutties in one game. Barry Sanders, Thurman Thomas, Kendall Hunter, and now Ollie Gordon. Yes, Barry Sanders did it 4 times, which is why he's the OG, right? The original gangster of the group. Bob Fenimore being the OG, triple OG, because he kind of invented everything as far as production at Oklahoma State. But now we have a legitimate candidate for Heisman. And I'm not just saying that to hype up the train. Naturally, I want to hype up the train, but this is certified, valid. Guys, there is 6 Power 5 running backs in the top 10 of rushing in all of college football this season. 4 of them are in the Big 12. One of those 4 is our main man, Ollie Gordon, and he's the only one of the 4 that barely played the first 3 games. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that, well, if he would have rushed more or played more, I'm not here to have that argument. Don't care. The way I view it, honestly, is would I've liked him to see more carries in the first few games? For sure, absolutely. But the fact that he didn't is maybe partially part of the reason why he looks in the fourth quarter like he just started the game. Now, he was never in the game plan to give anybody 25, 30 some odd carries type of scenario this season, but Ollie Gordon has become that guy. Ollie Gordon is a legitimate candidate for Heisman. Now, we're maybe a little late to the party to get the hype train building up quite enough for this year, but we need to start building this legitimate train now for next year. Notice I didn't say anything about Ollie going anywhere. Again, I'll address some of the housekeeping in the end. But if Ollie Gordon was going to go somewhere, it would have been in the summer. He's not going anywhere. He is here to chase the greats, the Barry Sanders, the Thurman Thomas. He wants to be in that line with your Chuba Hubbards and your Jaylen Warrens and your Justice Hills. He's not here just for paychecks. He knows that his paychecks will come. The NFL will call. In the meantime, he can chase the greats, which is precisely what he set out to do. The minute he threw on the old school Oklahoma State jerseys for this season, he had envisionment of chasing down those guys, not chasing paper. He's not the paper chaser. Ollie Gordon continues to not only make Oklahoma State better, but eyeballs matter. You hear about the eye test. Ollie Gordon passes the eye test. Right now, Ollie Gordon is the eye test. If you're not an Oklahoma State fan, it doesn't matter. You'll tune in to watch Ollie Gordon play the game of football. It's the same all the way around. This is why stars do in fact matter, which is why you could say that there's a debate on the recruiting or lack thereof numerically over the last couple of years. But as we are now staring down the barrel, maybe double barrels, of a phenomenal Bedlam. And yes, I want all of the Bedlam smoke. Got to be careful what you ask for. I get it. But I want a top 4 undefeated OU in Stillwater. Hopefully, it's a night game. So everybody, make sure that you're out there pushing so all of the broadcasting Big 12 people know the last, maybe last, ever Bedlam in Boone Pickens Stadium better be a night game. But we got to hold up our end of the bargain, which means we have to win this weekend. But before we do that, we get to bask in the glory of Ollie Gordon for just a little bit longer. We get to savor this taste of what we just witnessed, not only against just West Virginia, but he did it against KU too. And he had a pretty good game against K-State the week before. The revenge tour is on. I'm going to give equal credit to our main man, Justin Southwell, for starting this, but you got to give even more credit to the guy on the field that's hammering it home, literally hammering this thing home. Every team from here on out is going to go for broke stopping Ollie Gordon. But here's the beauty of it, guys. So did West Virginia. And West Virginia's had a pretty good defense. Like even the suspect things that we've seen offensively from them in the last couple of years, defensively was never an issue, especially in Morgantown. This was a phenomenal performance. As we talked about Saturday's live show, I gave the kudos and the roses to Mike Gundy, to Casey Dunn, to Alan Bowman. The offensive line, well, I gave them the roses, but they're about to get even more because they deserve it. Guys, the relationship that Ollie Gordon has with his offensive line, it's not only genuine, but it's pretty rare. Like every running back says, thank you to my offensive line for opening the holes. Without them, I'd be nothing. It's true, but it's also just something you have to say, right? I mean, you can't go on a podium and be like, I did great, my line sucks, but it doesn't matter because I am great, right? That would never fly. It's about the physical interaction on the sidelines, in the locker room, off the field. That's when you know that it hits a little bit different. It means a little bit more. Ollie Gordon's relationship with his offensive lineman is as genuine and rare as I've ever seen. And it's given credence to calling some shots about the War Pig, which was the offensive line that got to block for Thurman and Barry. War Pigs coming back around? Is this like a War Pigs 2.0 scenario? Because it kind of looks like it. But real quick, if it kind of looks like you're going to have a rough day and it kind of looks like you want the refreshing taste and flavor of alcohol without it being alcoholic, non-alcoholic beer, Athletic Brewing is the top dog in this industry. Y'all, they have been revolutionizing the non-alcoholic beer game for quite some time now, which is why they beat all of these different regular full-strength tasting beers in global competitions. They win awards. They continue to constantly release limited edition experimental styles to add to their variety. They're the fit for literally all times. You can drink them anytime, anywhere, and make any activity even more enjoyable. Watch the big game. Watch your kids' big game. Watch the tackling work or be the guy that does the tackling to make it work without any hangovers. First-time customers right now can use code LOCKEDON to get 15% off your first online order. Again, that is locked on at checkout for 15% off at athleticbrewing.com. Athleticbrewing.com. Go there now. Near beer. Exclusions and conditions apply. But go to Athletic Brewing Company, the fit for all times. The War Pigs. That's funny. When I was little, I had one of those like trading cards that came, I think, from Oklahoma State. I had one of Thurman, had one of Barry, had one of Rusty, had one of Gundy. Also had one of the War Pigs. And I remember thinking when I was a kid, why would they call themselves that? And why is there a card for a bunch of offensive linemen? It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. And then you get older, and then you dive into who Barry Sanders was at Oklahoma State University, followed up from the phenomenal pieces of evidence we got to see from Thurman Thomas, and you realize that offensive line was very underrated, which is exactly why they got the nickname the War Pigs, because they were willing to grab their lunch pail, throw their helmet on, go to work, and go to war every single snap, because they knew that the more they did, the more it was going to give the guy behind him or the guys behind him abilities. And the more abilities they got, the better it showed up for the offensive line. The story has been told. Barry Sanders didn't necessarily want to accept the Heisman Trophy. He didn't. He didn't go to the ceremony. He wanted to be with his teammates. And he's even said that he didn't care about the Heisman. He was kind of not embarrassed, but put off by all of the publicity and things of that nature. It was his offensive linemen. They wanted him to accept the trophy, and he did it just for them. He wanted no part of it, right? But his O-line, the War Pigs, mattered so much to him because he mattered so much to them that he accepted the Heisman anyways. On TV, in Tokyo. That's how it went down. And now you're watching this group. It took some mix and match. We knew that Charlie Dickey was going to be far more comfortable and more of a run-oriented offense, which is exactly why when we saw that this spring and summer and fall, it brought a new level of excitement to what the Oklahoma State offense could potentially be, what Coach Dickey could look like, even Coach McIndoe. Coach McIndoe was going to have the ability to take all of his wealth of knowledge from the offensive line and make it somewhat applicable to tight end, and it make everything down there look better. And then we begin the season with this wild rotation, which I don't think was the big issue. The big issue was we're just slinging the ball around willy-nilly like it's 2012 again. Like, that was perplexing. Like, you could tell. It was very visible on the sideline. This is not what some of these dudes thought they were coming back for. This is not what some of the guys we brought in thought that they were signing up for. This is not what we've been running. So Charlie Dickey wasn't super ecstatic because this was finally his opportunity to show his meat and taters. And now you're seeing it. Not only are you seeing it, but now you're seeing it with the mix and match due to injury. We were mixing and matching, trying to find the right puzzle pieces to fit, right? Then we get it. Now we have injuries. Then we slide other dudes in, and we still continue to put up 6, 7, 8 yards a carry against a good defense. So as much as Ollie Gordon deserves every rose, every helmet sticker, Big 12 Player of the Week, Offensive Player of the Week, Doak Walker Running Back of the Week, he deserves all of that. The offensive line maybe deserves more. Maybe Coach Dickey is beyond elated right now because he's hooting and hollering, banging his chest, saying, darn it, this is me. This is what I love. This is what I want. Give me more of this. I can coach this. I can teach this. And then once you have that locker room brotherhood, that's when the coaching can kind of take over, the technique side of things. Instead of thinking, you can do. And while you're doing more than you ever did before because it means a little bit more. what Ollie Gordon does, it's a direct reflection of the work that the offensive linemen have put in, which is exactly why Ollie has gotten so close to these dudes. They put in the work, they put in the time, they put in the effort this offseason to make this exact thing work, Alan Bowman included. And where Casey Dunn falls into this, I don't know. But the scripting was good. And then the second quarter, without the script, not so much. It was looking a little dicey. And then second half, we decided we don't need a script. We figured stuff out. Yeah, I guess Alan Bowman managed the game well. The War Pigs 2.0 gave up 0 sacks. This is 2 weeks in a row now for somebody who's not exactly mobile. And this ground production by Ollie Gordon is insane. To go from 19 carries the first few games, 19 carries the first 3.5 games combined, basically. To him now being number 8 in America in rushing yards. And there's only one other person that's averaging 7 yards a carry in the top 10 running backs in America. And I'm pretty sure Ollie was the only Power 5 running back averaging 7 yards a carry. Guys, anything over 4.5 is impressive. Anything over 5 is extremely impressive. When you start creeping into the 6 yards a carry range, that's when you start to be up for things like the Heisman and the Doak Walker Awards and Big 12 Player of the Year Awards and Offensive Player of the Week Award over and over and over. That's when that kind of comes into fruition. And you're seeing this thing now. Hats off to Charlie Dickey. Hats off to Ollie Gordon, OLine, Alan Bowman. Obviously, JW, Trayson, you continue to do your thing. Hats off to Mike Gundy. I still am beyond irritated that it waited till this long for all of this to get put in motion. But it is what it is. Here we are. I'm happy with the outcome. I'm happy with the product. I'm happy that we're happy. I'm happy that Charlie Dickey's happy. And I'm especially happy that the offensive linemen now have that thing built in with Ollie that they know if I block just for like 1 centimeter longer, or I drive this guy maybe 1 inch further backwards, that it could mean Ollie Gordon gets 1 more yard, 10 more yards, 10 more yards equals 100 more yards. That could be the difference between the best running back in America and not at the end of the season. So everything that Ollie Gordon accomplishes from here on out, his O-line will be celebrating it with him. Maybe even before him. This is what locker room buy-in looks like. All the way around, including Mike Gundy. Again, I'm not ready to completely say that Gundy's completed the circle on, re-engaging everybody in the locker room, but he's getting really close. You know what would seal it up? You probably guessed it. His nemesis, his kryptonite, his Achilles heel. Got to take care of business for homecoming. But then comes the one. Maybe the last one ever in Bedlam. Y'all, if Mike Gundy has this new found level of buy-in and physical engagement, and we beat OU, sign me up, lock me up, throw away the key, whatever. All I've ever wanted out of Gundy is just more trophies. And everyone says Gundy gets a lot of crap for Bedlam. Yes, but that's because literally six or seven of those Bedlams were either to win the Big 12 title or the right to go on to win the Big 12 title. Because 90% of the time, Bedlam is the last game of the year. And the last decade, it's been that way probably for a reason. because it helps the Big 12 in ratings and viewership and everything else at the end of the year. This one's not at the end of the year. Maybe that helps. This one might be the last one of all time. Maybe that helps. This one might be the one that takes them out of conversations. That started when Mike Gundy was a coordinator under Les Miles, or before that, when he was undefeated and looking at a national title. We have knocked them off of that massive golden pedestal before. But this time we won't just be knocking them off for S's and giggles. This time we'll be knocking them off for another likely trip to the Big 12 title game, which has been, again, the nemesis, the kryptonite, the Achilles heel of Mike Gundy, is the Bedlam game that gets us to the Big 12 title or gives us the Big 12 title has been his issue, except for 2 years. Those are the same 2 years that he won Big 12 Coach of the Year. He can exorcise those demons, Mike Gundy. And if he does that, because part of it has to be his buy-in too. Part of it has to be with Mike Gundy when it comes to this Bedlam. Just throw it out the window, man. Go for it. Be ruthless. Be mean. Be rude. Be aggressive. Try to crush their trachea before halftime. And then try to snap their vertebrae in half in the second half. Do that, and I'll buy in to the complete buy-in all the way around. I'll do that. I mean, Gundy's approaching rarefied air. He just did. He just won his 400th game. So I guess he's already in rarefied air. But Gundy-fied air, right? That's the next step. That's the next area, plateau, if you will, that he's got to not only get to, but smash through. Mike Gundy has risen Oklahoma State to this level. We should expect this level. Just like you should expect to have a lot more fun in your daily fantasy sports, which is what PrizePicks is for. They're the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America. The easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Hands down, not even close. Don't battle against the thousands of other players, pros, sharks, what have you. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 players, stat projections, and you get to watch the winnings. PrizePicks is the most fun. It's not even close. Again, if you want to make some dollar bills on a person, go hammer the over on Ollie Gordon. And then maybe you want to mess with the over-under for a Jaylen Warren or a Justice Hill. You can do that. You want to hammer the over for an Oklahoma State wide receiver in the NFL and in college. You can do that. And with the reboot policy, if one of your players for the NFL game or a CFB top 25 game, if he gets hurt in the first half and doesn't return, he gets rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with that kind of injury insurance at all. So go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege. Use that code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks.com/LockedOnCollege. Use the code LockedOnCollege. They're going to first match deposit up to $100. Go there now. Get hooked up, squared away. All right. Gundy is in rarefied air already. Nobody will argue that. Gundy also has the opportunity to take a much bigger step. Because I think a lot of us, most of us, a decent amount of us, just want to see his vision come true. This is his vision, guys. His vision is to become at least some sort of a blue blood, or at least be in the blue blood conversation. Wins are important, yes. He needs to keep winning, obviously, yes. But he also has to win the ones that set him apart from everybody else. His back was against the wall. K-State got it done. Back was against the wall. KU got it done. Same thing here. Got it done. America's biggest, brightest, orange, and best homecoming is against Cincinnati. And I'm not saying they're bad, right? But they're so depleted. This should set us up for, say it with me, possibly the last Bedlam ever. The last Bedlam ever. It better be at night, and it better be for something. And if we take care of business, it will be. If they beat KU, great. More eyeballs. If they don't beat KU, whatever. Still more eyeballs. Because now the Big 12 race just got even more ridiculous. I am more than happy to jump on the Gundy wagon if he completes the circles. And part of the circle is you got to beat OU. You got to win Bedlam. Especially now that we already have 2 L's. This Bedlam, as they say in the SEC, it just means more. If Mike Gundy throws caution to the wind, and he brings a bunch of sledgehammers and chainsaws to deal with OU and cut them down to size, I don't even need the trophy this year. But if you beat OU, and that means we likely win out, that's 10-2 in Arlington. That's buy-in. That's buy-in all the way around, even including the head man himself. He's in rarefied air. But if he beats OU and takes us back to Arlington and wins a trophy, that ain't just rarefied air. It's Gundy-fied air. It's official. You can time stamp it, do whatever you want. And I'm fine with it. Just like I would have been fine with it last year if he would have addressed all this stuff and done all this last year or this summer when it looked like it was going to be more realistic because he was in the building. It doesn't matter. Just keep winning. Just keep showing up. Keep designing the X's and O's for special teams and above and beyond. And we're fine. All right. So, housekeeping. A decent number of you are probably already aware that I have an imposter that has been faking my stuff for a little while, but it was all kind of innocent, or at least I thought it was. You know, he would pretend to be me and post like pictures of like swimsuit models and OSU shirts, stuff like that. He'd say some wild stuff here and there, but right, I thought it was no biggie. Kind of funny. Whatever. Ha ha ha. But now I'm aware that this individual has been copying a lot more than just my Twitter profile. And they've been sending people messages, pretending to be me, asking people to come on the show and then not showing up and making it look like I'm, screwing people over and not following through or not getting back to people. Yeah, sending some pretty vile messages to some. So, to everybody out there, it is being resolved, okay? And I'm also going to work on the stupid Twitter verification stuff. I swore I would never pay for that stupid check mark, but I guess I might. All right. But anywho, let people know if you've received a DM from me over the last few months, especially in regards to transferring or players should transfer or any appearances on the show, 99% possibility it was not me. So let the people know if you got some dumb messages about making appearances on the show or not being good enough to appear on the show or you should transfer or whatever. It wasn't me. All righty, y'all. That's all we're going to have for this one right here. You know I love you. God bless. Go Pokes. And thank you for tuning in to make this your first listen here on Locked On Oklahoma State. Like it, share it, comment, subscribe. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all y'all, go leave a review. All right. Later, taters.